Perry Duckles of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I'm an innocent man, and I have been in jail 6 times. And 6 times a prosecutor from the Monroe County District Attorney's Office has not talked in court. And I'm demanding the names of these prosecutors silence using the Freedom of Information Law. This arrived at your office. This is dated January 28th. I have multiple prosecutors. What are their names, Perry Duckles? This is where you can send the names of my prosecutors to silence. 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. That's my UPS box. I have a home address too. But I don't want Psychopaths Incorporated, the sheriff's office, showing up and pounding on my door like they did when I lived in Penfield. I lived in Penfield. I was on YouTube. 5 of their vehicles arrived and 10 plus their employees, because that's what one of my neighbors told me. They were pounding on my door. That's why I call them Psychopaths Incorporated. One of them was in the backyard screaming my name. You know why this is happening to me with 5 vehicles and 10 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees? I read their payroll on YouTube. Is the driving force. There are other reasons. But Paula C. Metzler, this $28,000 nauseating corrupt hack in Penfield Town Court, wants to send me to jail as one person. That's why the sheriff's office is at my residence when I'm on YouTube, pounding on my front door and screaming my name in the backyard. And I have demanded from Todd Baxter in writing and on YouTube the name of his psychopath who's in my backyard screaming my name. And my neighbor, Christine Tarantino, came out of her residence and screamed at them. You leave him alone is exactly what she said. Because Christine had been watching Psychopaths Incorporated, the sheriff's office, repeatedly come to my residence. So Perry Duckles, I'm going to explain for however long this lasts why they were coming to my residence and what else has happened to me. And I'm going to have to leave things out in the interest of time. And I perhaps could be on here 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, it depends. This is what I'm demanding from you, Perry Duckles. And I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice, the employees that work for Attorney General Merrick Garland, United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, Trinity Ross, and Buffalo, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York and Albany, that you're refusing the district attorney's office even to disclose the names of my prosecutors in public appearances in court. How is that possibly explained? And do you understand it's corruption to refuse? And I don't think you do. I have to restrain myself from calling you corrupt because I don't know you. And I have already been in contact with you 4 weeks ago where I was demanding this from you. And I don't know if you can block me and blow me off, or you see an email and you think, I don't know who this person is, and not read it. But what I'm demanding from you has arrived at the district attorney's office 2 ways. United Parcel Service, where it's tracked, and registered mail return receipt, where it's signed for. Mary Ann Mastro Donato signs for this. This is what I'm demanding. Using the legally binding document that is the Freedom of Information Law. And this is dated January 28th, and this is attached in PDF. The documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester for John P. Lamento Jr. in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Dorley? Do you know this 70-year-old fossil? I believe you do. You know exactly who he is. Because he freed accused child rapist Daniel Glaus III. Even though he has a relationship with the family, he does not recuse himself. This is a vile, sick, disgusting room that you at the district attorney's office forced defendants into. And they're refusing to disclose to me if anybody's ever been acquitted. And I think the answer is no. Is this Julie Hahn? I don't know. This female prosecutor stood there in Penfield Town Court in total silence as I'm delivered to jail. How is any citizen in the county of Monroe, in the state of New York, in the United States of America delivered to jail when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Prosecutors talk in court and exercise a First Amendment. That's the way it works. That's the way it's never worked for me as I've been delivered to jail 6 times. Who is this in Monroe County in Penfield Town Court that did this to me? Freedom of Information Law again. The documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester before Paul C. Metzler in Penfield Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Dorley? This is the 5'2" 3-piece suit boy. Regina Harper, the Monroe County public defender, said to me about this boy, the prosecutor's not backing down. The vengeance of the heart of the psychopath, where he delivers me to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo with Paul C. Metzler. Perry Duckles, you've been in Penfield Town Court. I'll guess I don't know. I hesitate to guess at things. But given the fact you've been at the district attorney's office, because I have your biography, which I'm going to read, which is impressive. For 20 years, I'll guess that you have been in there. I think you were the chief of the courts bureau. So, redirect defendants away from this abomination that is Penfield Town Court. I did not know that a criminal defendant, however innocent, which is what I am, in a courtroom can be sent to jail, one, when a prosecutor doesn't talk, and two, without a jury verdict. If you're going to spend one day in jail, it should be a jury. Because jail is hell. So, what's the name of this boy? I went up to him in Penfield Town Court. I stood right next to him, got as close as possible. I said, "You're going to stand there in total silence?" And he did. He should be disbarred too. Every single one of these attorneys assigned to my appearances in court should be disbarred, which is why I'm demanding their names. So I could go to the Attorney Grievance Committee, which is on East Avenue. Freedom of information with documentation for the case of Christopher Charges in the New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra? In my last appearance before, this $208,000 7-year-old fossil, I had two females behind me. I do not know if they're court employees or if they're district attorney's office employees assigned to my cases. He told me I'm finished and done, which is not true. I'll be back again. This is how easy it is to be in jail, Perry Duckles. And I'm going to tell this when I move back to Albany, which should be soon, that this needs to be changed, this monstrosity. That's a bench trial. It's not a trial. I'm at my temporary residence. I get a document from somebody at the district attorney's office. Someone at the district attorney's office at 47 South Fitzhugh forced me into appear before Alex Renzi, where that assistant district attorney doesn't have to talk. And there I am in Monroe County Jail again. What are their names, Perry Duckles? So, this is how many times I've demanded their names. And I'm going to try not to look ridiculous. I've demanded their names via the United States Postal Service. See that green card? That green card comes back to me. This is United States Postal Service here, where it's tracked. So, the green card that comes back to me. I'm just going to look for the first one for the district attorney's office and the date. And then if there's a signature I can make out, I'll tell you who it is. So this one here, I'll just pull this out. This is about 15 just from the district attorney's office. This date is September 22nd, 2022. That's when I demanded you disclose the names of our prosecutor. I just read there, which is dated January 28th. I sent this to you in September. This is why I described your boss, District Attorney Sandra Dolly, as corrupt. And it was signed by, I think it says RSP and the last name is Smith. I think it's Richard Smith or Renee Smith. I can't make out the first name. It's the other thing that's concerning to me, not only with the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office. I signed for documentation when I was a public employee in Albany for majority leading governor, in Washington, D.C. when I worked for Congressman Morris Smith and Senator Olympia Snowe. I always printed my name to make sure it's legible. That's not a minor thing. Employees, this is the unprofessionalism of the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, but they can't even sign their names in a professional manner. That's not a minor thing because they need to be identified when you receive documentation for a citizen. So Perry Duckles, I'll say to you, what are the names of my prosecutors? What's the problem? What's the problem, Jonestown? Do you know what a Jonestown is? Of course you do. Jonestown is a way to refer to an organization as a cult. When you're a cult, just like the sheriff's office. I'm going to tell you how they concoct criminal attempt second for me when this is not a crime. You have to work with these individuals, Perry Duckles. And if I say or use language that impeaches your character, that's not my intent because I don't know you. But it is difficult for me to restrain myself in impeaching your character, given what your office has done to me. When I'm in jail 6 times, the 6 times the prosecutor doesn't talk to court, and your boss, the district attorney of Monroe County, refuses to disclose the names of these prosecutors. This is what I'm going to be prosecuted for. This is because of $83,000 Shannon Meyer at the sheriff's office who received a $16,000 raise. This is fanaticism. This is why people hate the police, Perry Duckles. If you were asked, given your experience, which I'm going to read your biography, because it is impressive. Have you ever seen hatred for the police in the United States of America in the year 2023, like there is today? Because I've never seen hatred like this. There is real, genuine hatred. I think it was in Memphis, the cops again and again, they murdered, beat to death somebody right there in the street. This is 30 years after Rodney King. So, This is where I used to live in Penfield. Sometimes the glare on the phone, I don't know if you can see it. If you drive down Penfield Road, this is a parking lot. You will drive by if you're on your way to Wegmans, Target, Cam's Pizza, on your way to Fairport. You will see this parking lot. You'll see there's two people walking through that parking lot. You see that land next to that land there? This is the destruction of my life because it is $83,000 Valsacac, Shannon Sheriff's Office. That land right there has no ownership. I moved to that residence in 2012 with my then girlfriend, Laura Riley, because Laura's hired at the Penfield Public Library. And what I don't know is Penfield Town Court is in a library complex. So everything's normal. I walked through that parking lot, and my dentist at 2033 Penfield Road is Glory Nichols. I've walked through that parking lot, Perry Duckles, 4,000 times. Just like my excellent friend Adam, who lived right next to me, the elderly woman across the street, Penfield High School students in a red athletic apparel. People begin to walk through that parking lot at 7 a.m. until midnight. This is why I mention this, because Neeraj Shah, who's a 50-year-old man who lives with his 70-year-old mother, begins the destruction of my life for walking through his parking lot, for which I'll file criminal charges against him. And you know what's going to happen to Neeraj Shah? Nothing. Neeraj Shah is in this parking lot at the top here, where these two people are, if you can see that without the glare on the phone, I don't know. And he begins to scream at me as my back is turned. I walk up to him, I say, "What's the problem?" And he's screaming from inside his vehicle. We have this confrontation. I give him the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. I tell him to fuck off, and I walk away. I have known individuals where I have been on Long Island, where I'm from and grew up, and in Brooklyn, where my mother and father are from, that would have attacked him for the way he was behaving. So, Shah goes to the sheriff's office. Then $67,000 revolting hack Shannon Meyer calls me. I speak to her for an hour. I have no idea if she set me up. And I'm saying to her, why are you calling me? Because people walk through this parking lot all day long. Why are you only calling me? And when I responded to what's going to be the warrant for my arrest, this, I hope to attach this to PDF, but your office has received this if I don't. Right here, where I say to Baxter, here's this called the addendum. It's a little dark. This is what Shannon Meyer does. Warn advised. After I spoke to her for an hour, I'm telling her, people walk through this parking lot all day long. And where's my 14th Amendment right to protection of laws? I don't have one. There were events at Harris Whalen Park for June 30th, 2020. I'm doing this from memory. Where Penfield High School band students will walk through this parking lot in their band uniforms. People were walking from the high school through that parking lot to Harris Whalen Park and back for the fireworks. When the fireworks ended, I sat in my residence and I watched 200 people behind me at least, and it could have been 500, walk through that parking lot. If it's a crime to walk through this parking lot, every single one should have been arrested. And how ludicrous and insane is that? And this is a ludicrous and insane cop that Todd Baxter gave a $16,000 raise to. And she makes $83,000, which is $83,000 more than Michael Rather, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, who's paid $0. It's the corruption of what you have to work with. Because I'm demanding from Todd Baxter the $0 Michael Rather paid private money to work at the Sheriff's Office. So I'm going to tell Thomas B. DiNapoli. I have not looked at his campaign accounts yet. If there's a check, this is what you have to work with, from Todd Baxter and his campaign accounts when he was elected in 2017, re-elected 21. A check after check after check to Michael Rather. Michael Rather is in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office being paid private money. So I responded to this Shannon Meyer with this sentence by sentence rebuttal. Tell me if this is a crime, Perry Duckles. A man on his tractor from Broccola Tree and Lawn Care rides his tractor by this grass here. I come outside, I stand right here. I say nobody owns that land and walk back into my residence. Do you think that's a crime, Perry Duckles? I'll tell you what your answer should be. That's not a crime. That's not a crime anywhere in America. It's only a crime in a sick, diseased head of $83,000 Shannon Meyer, who was paid $67,000 when this was concocted for me. So, Meyer contacts Steve Desmond of Broccola Tree and Lawn Care, says, ride your tractor behind by this Christopher Chichester's residence, 26 Sanders Front Drive. If he comes out of the residence, we're going to arrest him. This is what these psychopaths are doing, and this is why they're psychopaths. I called Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office of Real Property Tax Service. In his agonizing conversation, because that's the word I use when I refer to him, I'm saying to him over and over, tell me if Layla Kumar Shah and Neeraj Shah own this land. He can't do it. Even if there is ownership of this land, It's not a crime. It's not criminal contempt. Second, for me to walk outside, say nobody owns that land, walk back to my residence. If you own a home, Terry Duckles, I'll guess that you do, given your success. If you know Albany, there's a suburb called Gilderland. And in 1997, when I was a young man, I bought a home there. And at the closing, I was there with my, as I used to call her, the realtor to the stars, Gloria. And she handed me a document. She said, this is the land I was on a cul-de-sac that you own around your house. And this proves you own your land. And it was terrific. And I was there for 3 years until I moved to Washington, D.C. I remember clearly her saying to me, this is the document that proves you own the land next to your residence. It had a seal on an affidavit or some type of marking. This is what Nairaj and Layla Kumar Shah sent me. Where I sent this to Timothy Murphy. This is nothing. This is laughable. This is a joke. This proves nothing. This is the fiction, the fantasy land of this Nairaj Shah's head. And when I file a criminal charge against him for false reporting an incident, it's not a crime for him to walk through that parking lot. You know what's going to happen to Nairaj Shah? Nothing. He won't be arrested. He won't be prosecuted. Disbarred is different because I think there's a chance he could be disbarred when I send the Monroe County Bar Association, New York State Bar Association, the Attorney Grievance Committee, 1,000+ pages. So, Terry Duckles, when I have on the foil there, where I'm saying the language, what are the names of my prosecutors? I sent that to you on January 24th that arrived either by UPS or registered mail return receipt. I sent that to you on January 18th when I'm demanding names of my prosecutors, UPS or registered mail return receipt. I sent that to you on January 12th when I'm demanding names of my prosecutors, registered mail return receipt or UPS. I sent that to you on January 10th when demanding names of my prosecutors, using the Freedom of Information Law. I sent that to you on January 5th, when it arrived in your office, and on email where it's attached to PDF. And I sent that on December 28th, when it arrived in your office. Why are you refusing to disclose the names of my prosecutors? So the documentation, do you see that? I don't know if you can see that. There's a couch I have, a small couch. That's the Freedom of Information Law and other documentation I have just on a small couch. I think there are about 4,000 pages on there. And you haven't complied with anything in the district attorney's office. I'm also demanding of you at the district attorney's office if there's sexual harassment ongoing. As you understand the term sexual harassment, Perry Duckles, it's just sexual harassment at the district attorney's office. Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act confronts sexual harassment. Why is your boss, Sandra Dorley, refusing to answer? There's an answer to that question. She's corrupt. Perry Duckles, do you not know your boss, Sandra Dorley, is corrupt? Because you live in a 1984 if you think she isn't corrupt. I can't even find out the names of my prosecutors. That is a reason. Your boss, Sandra Dorley, is corrupt. So, I get out of Livingston County Jail in Geneseo and I have to outprocess, in Rochester, Monroe County Sheriff's Office. As I'm a runner, I ran down Penfield Road. I ran from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office in Rochester to where I used to live 26 cents from driving Penfield. I got my key in my back pocket. I don't have my wallet because it wasn't returned. It wasn't in my property. The key doesn't open the front door. I go around to the back. The sliding glass door is always open. I never lock it because the lock was broken. The lock was fixed and it was locked. I had a key with a New York Mets logo that I taped to the back of the porch for an emergency. It had a New York Mets logo on it. And I was thinking about that as I was on my knees trying to get the key. I'm thinking, where's the Mets logo? The key was removed. One of two people did this to me. Giuseppe Spano or Antonino Spano. Well, Giuseppe Spano is a 47-year-old son who had multiple sclerosis and he's now dead. And if hell's 5,000 degrees, that's not hot enough for this freak. I believe that Anthony Ospano, who's the father, who is 70 plus years old, did this to me. And you know when I filed a criminal complaint about Anthony Ospano locking me out without a court order? Everything I've been told by the Tenant Defense Project and other research is that even if you don't have a lease, it takes a court order to lock doors and lock someone out. Nothing's going to happen to Anthony Ospano. Just like nothing's going to happen to Neeraj Shah. Neeraj Shah, falsely reporting an incident for me walking through a parking lot. He won't be arrested, won't be prosecuted. Nothing's going to happen to him. Anthony Ospano, Fairport, New York, for locking me out without a court order when I don't know this is happening and taking everything I own to a storage locker and website. Nothing's going to happen to him. On here is a link about Richard J. Seatman violently attacking me at the sheriff's office. Click on that link with his name. He's Todd Baxter's $74,000 freak. I'm going to write criminal charges about Richard J. Seatman. He walked into the Penfield Public Library. I stood up at the computer. Seatman slammed his left arm into the right side of my head. So as to force Seaman's arm slamming me in the head, I fell backwards and my head hit the surrounding tile of the library floor. He frog marches me out the library. There's Paul C. Messer waiting for him, and I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. When I file assault charges against Richard J. Seatman, it's a violent attack upon me. You know what's going to happen to Richard J. Seatman? Not a goddamn thing. All these individuals have committed real crimes upon me. Falsely reporting an incident is Neeraj and Layla Kumar Shah. It's not a crime for me to walk through that parking lot. Locking the doors and locking me out without a court order is Anthony Ospano of Fairport, New York. Richard J. Seatman, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, a sworn employee of the law, is violently attacking me. There's not going to be arrest. There's not going to be 5 seconds in jail. Richard J. Seatman. This is what you signed for. When I held up the UPS and the United States Postal Service Registered Mail Return Receipt, this you received right here. Fanaticism, Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dolly, Judge Alex Renzi. Perjurer, 73,312, Michael C. Houlihan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Violence, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, 75,904, Richard J. Seatman. Rejection, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. Accountability, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, Sandra Dorley, Alex Renzi. I called it rejection because I said here, you're not going to tell me the names of my prosecutors, and it was true. I'm talking about Seatman here. This link is included. You can click on it about how he attacked me at the library. More details. Michael C. Houlihan. He won't be arrested and charged with perjury. This is how Michael C. Houlihan purges himself. And I've copied Michelle Crowley on this in the district attorney's office. Does it matter to you that Michael C. Houlihan and Don Benedetto, Todd Baxter's $85,000 psychopath, walked onto the private property of my neighbor? I leave my residence and walk alongside my property. Benedetto and Houlihan come running at me. I'm not quite sure at that moment what that is. I turn around and run away. All the facts and circumstances of this are bullshit. The only thing that matters is when I grab the hammer and what happens on the back porch, and this is where Houlihan lies and also where Houlihan perjures himself to Michelle Crowley's district attorney's office. Doesn't matter what I was doing before I get to the back porch. Nothing matters at all in the fantasy land of Michael Houlihan's head and the fantasy land of Don Benedetto's head, and these are corrupt cops, and corrupt cops shouldn't be believed about anything. Do you understand me, Perry Duckles? Corrupt cops lie, which is Don Benedetto and Michael Houlihan on the private property of my neighbor. When I began to run away from Houlihan and Benedetto, I never stopped running. I get to the back porch. I grab a hammer that's alongside of my bicycle. Houlihan grabs my arm. The hammer goes up. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stopped running. Houlihan went back to the sheriff's office, district attorney's office, both said I swung a hammer at him on my back porch. If you look at the body camera footage that Regina Harper, the public defender's office, sent me, I ran the whole time. The only way I can swing a hammer in the delusional 1984 of Houlihan's head is if I stop, pivot on my right foot, and bring it down on his head. I never stopped running from this psychopath, Michael Houlihan. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It's impossible for me to swing a hammer at him when I ran the whole time. And the only way for me to swing a hammer is I have to stop at some point. This is why people hate the police, Perry Duckles. You, Perry Duckles, know how I was charged with harassment second by then $79,000 employee of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office because he received a raise to $82,000. I'm on a bench press at a now defunct gym on Penfield Road called PW Fitness. Jermaine L. Benman walks up to me. He goes like this. I say, I'll be 30 seconds. Behrman stands over me. He's got these little tight shorts on, and I could see the balls of Jermaine Behrman in my face. He punches down, my head snaps back. Who did I just harass, Perry Duckles? Am I harassing anyone? When Jermaine Behrman's fist lands on my jaw, who am I harassing? Who is it? Any citizen in the United States of America charged with harassment second, however it is, there's a victim, there's a human being that person's harassing. Who did I just harass? I should have violently attacked Jermaine Behrman right there and started a fight, and I didn't. Because it's going to prevent what's going to happen to me. A witness calls the sheriff's office, and Andrew Reale arrives. Andrew Reale knows me because of his parking lot. He's going to concoct a crime for me. We go outside. Reale tells me to wait in the backseat of his vehicle. Now I'm in the backseat now. Perry Duckles, who am I harassing? I'm not harassing anyone. Andrew Reale is talking to Jermaine Behrman in front of the vehicle, and he tells Jermaine Behrman these 7 words to say to me. I want to press charges against you, and that's how I'm charged with harassment second. I've said this over and over, probably 50 times on YouTube and in writing to your office. So, I appear before John P. Lomenzo Jr. for criminal attempt second, harassment second. I go to Monroe County Jail. Jermaine Behrman has to appear before James P. Jr. Is Jessica Wagner employed at the district attorney's office? The answer is no. She's not on payroll. Your former employee, Jessica Wagner, if I have that right, I have to do this sometimes from memory, and I don't have the errors and right about everything, and I'm correct about everything. I will make mistakes. And if I do, and if I'm corrected, then I'll do my best to avoid those same mistakes. I don't believe Jessica Wagner's on the payroll. Jessica Wagner, district attorney's office, is effectively the defense attorney for this violent thug and criminal Jermaine Behrman. Because this is what happened. I get a subpoena. I sit down at Penford Town Court. Immediately, a Penford Town Court employee comes to me and says my name. I acknowledge my name. She said, you can't be here. I wait out in the hallway. Jermaine Behrman walks inside with his attorney to appear before James P. Jr., who's about 70 years old. He walks out in 5 minutes because of Jessica Wagner. Your employee, Jessica Wagner, district attorney's office, negotiated a deal with the attorney for Jermaine Behrman to allow this violent thug, predator, and criminal who snapped my head back in a violent act to walk right out the door. I'm in jail for harassment second, sitting in the backseat of Andrew Reale's police vehicle. What do you think about what I just told you, Perry Duckles? This is why I use language such as in describing the district attorney's office as corrupt. It's in 1984. A sworn officer of the court, an assistant prosecutor, who's really the defense attorney for a violent predator. So my eviction. Everything is gone. Do you serve in the military, Perry Duckles? And when I show this, I'm not the special. And what I really am disgusted by in the United States of America is individuals who are veterans and expect praise, or those who think they have to praise veterans because that's what they want to hear. I was in from 1985 to 1988. I got out. I got out as an E5. I made E5. I made the points. I have an AAM, an ARCOM, air assault badge. I went to the air assault school at Fort Campbell. I no longer have my original DD-214. If you're a veteran, you know veterans, it's a copy. This is what happened because of my eviction. I no longer have my original. So, Perry Duckles, I'm going to try to conclude this quickly because I'm at 28 minutes, and a lot of these things I've said before, but I've contacted you on January 1st. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to show you a photograph, and I should be done. Attached to PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20, 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived on December 22nd to December 26th via UPS, which tracked to have it. Print each, bring it to your corrupt boss, Sandra Dorley. Tell this pathetic accumulation of health afflictions to send the information to my UPS address listed below. It includes the names of my prosecutor's silence. What's not to understand? I've demanded names of my prosecutor's silence for 18 months. I'll be in court again because you fellow psychopaths know it takes only one corrupt judge, such as Alice Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, or Paul C. Metzer in Little Penford Town Court, to declare me guilty of the criminal charges you concoct. A prosecutor has never talked to court for me. Yet I've been in jail 6 times. This is fanaticism and hatred at your office that deserves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. You received the same FOIL documentation dated January 2nd, 2023 and January 3rd, 2023 that compels you to disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence. You continue to refuse and crave silence. So this is YouTube. I called it 61. Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, Judge Alex Renzi, because there's 61 FOILs in there. And then here again, I'm going to include this link for Laura Riley where I'm telling her, tell me what happened with my eviction. And she's refusing. So there it is. You have it. This is what happens to me for these freaks at the sheriff's office. This is why they're freaks. I was on this thing. If you drive down Penfield Road, this is at 2025 Penfield Road, that's a surveillance device. I call this a surveillance device. I finished my run one day. Willapalm Way goes to Sanders Farm Drive where I used to live. This is what the Monroe County Sheriff's Office is doing when there's real crime crashing down in Monroe County. As I'm about to walk down Sanders Farm Drive, because I call this a surveillance device, which I'll hold up again. This is what these freaks are doing. This is why they're freaks. This is why Todd Baxter's a freak. This is why every single employee is the blue wall silence, because they won't even admit what they're doing. Nobody will admit that this is what they did to me that day. So I finish on Willapalm Way, walk down Sanders Farm Drive, and there I see the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. And I continue to run. I thought I'm already running. I continue to run. Lindsay Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, as a civilian, sees me because she was driven over to my residence by a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. I run back down Willapalm Way, which goes to Wegmans and Cam's Pizza and Target. I'm on Willapalm Way running. And here's Lindsay Barron screaming at me from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office vehicle. I want to talk to you, Chris, about the surveillance device. Over and over. That I have been on. That Regina Harper sent me the links to. So even though there's video evidence that I've been on this thing over and over because Regina Harper sent me the links, these freaks at the sheriff's office are calling Lindsay Barron for me to come to my residence, pardon me. Even though the body camera footage for either Don Benedetto or Michael Houlihan shows I ran away the whole time and it's impossible to swing a hammer at Michael Houlihan, these freaks went to the district attorney's office, your district attorney's office, and concocted attempted felony assault for me. And Alex Renzi, when he told me in New York State Supreme Court, one, that there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. Is that true, Perry Duckles? Because I don't believe everything he says. You know. He told me it's either assault or it's not assault because it's a landmine of vagueness for it to be attempted felony assault, because then anything could be attempted felony assault. So he told me I was finished and done, which is not true. And when I have to appear in front of Alex Renzi, the hackocracy at New York State Supreme Court, where there are 18 of him, and I'm back in jail and back in court, where a prosecutor then doesn't talk in court, I'll come back, say, I told you so. Somebody's doing this to me at the district attorney's office. Is it you? I don't know. I have prosecutors assigned to my cases, so they're definitely ones that are doing this to me. And what are they doing to me? They're compelling me and forcing me into courts where their fellow prosecutors don't have to talk and I'm delivered to jail. So, respond to me, Perry Duckles. And respond to me by disclosing the names of my prosecutors of silence. My name is Christopher Chichester. I'm an innocent man.